The United States entered World War II. They built 50 aircraft carriers for the Pacific, for the World War II in the Pacific. Of these 50 aircraft carriers, 5 were lost to enemy during the World War, and the remainder were scrapped. These aircraft carriers were smaller than the current ones we have. And we have a fourth cousin, Evan Halls Crawford, who is a descendant of Nicholas Welch. He entered the war as a communication specialist, and he was assigned to escort the aircraft Midway. Midway saw many battles in the Pacific, and in October, because of the success we had in France in the St. Lo War, the aircraft carrier was named the St. Lo, and Midway was reserved for a more future aircraft carrier, the more larger ones. In October 24th, 1944, his ship was sunk by a kamikaze plane in the Battle of Leyte Gulf in the Philippines. The kamikaze hit the deck of the ship and went through the deck near the place where they're fueling the aircrafts and also where the torpedoes were held. It exploded, blew up the ship, and within 30 minutes, the ship sunk. After 23 hours in the water and a rescue by a U.S. destroyer, our cousin Evan was rescued. Of the 880 men aboard, 113 were killed or missing, and approximately 30 others died of their wounds. After this event, while Evan was resting and recovering in San Diego, where he met his wife as a nurse, he wrote a poem. And I would like to read the last verses, or the last few verses of that poem. And yet, if they could speak, surely each one would say, "Do not let my sacrifice be forgotten. If you cannot remember the loves that never came, and the children that never were, the dreams unfulfilled, or the life unlived, at least remember my name. This one small thing I ask of you." Today, more than just remember his name, I would like to spend time remember the names of our ancestors who have sacrificed much for us, and we have been able to put in the positions we are because of that. So first, let me explain who I am. My name's Richard J. Crookston. I live in Dallas, Texas area, McKinney, Texas to be exact. My father was Richard L. Crookston, his father was Jesse L. Crookston, and David J. Crookston was his, and David was the son of Robert Crookston. So I'm going to talk about Robert Crookston's family, his siblings, and his wife's family. So to put that in parameter with, or put it for you that are here at the Robert Burns Crookston get together, Robert Crookston was my grandfather's first cousin. Nicholas Crookston was my great-grandfather's brother, and we're all from Robert Crookston. Paul Crookston was second cousin to my dad, and Camion is my third cousin. So I am third cousin to most of you. I might be second cousin once removed, or maybe third cousin once removed. So for example, Paul Crookston is my second cousin once removed because him and my father are at the same generation, and I'm one generation removed from that. So let's look at Robert Crookston's family and who they are. The reason I'm talking here, I spent the last couple of years writing 6 books that cover 4 volumes that cover the descendants of James Crookston, one that covered the Youngs, Robert Young and his wife, and then I wrote a 6th book that covered Nicholas Welch and his descendants. The first 4 volumes were about 1,700 pages, 1,600 pages. The volume on the Youngs is less than 100, and Nicholas was another 600 pages. So let me tell you how these are all related. They all immigrated from Britain. These right here. So Robert, we know, was the son of James Crookston. of his second wife. And so James had two wives. The first wife had, I think it was 5 children, but the two that lived and ended up coming to the United States was George and Janet. All these people joined the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in about 1841, 1842, and that would be James and his wife and all his children, which is George, Janet, Robert, and there was a James Crookston. And then Mary Young's sister was the one that introduced all these people to the church. So she and her daughter Margaret joined. In fact, Margaret and Sophia and Mary and her husband they were separated, and James and his wife Mary. So Sophia and her separated husband, Mary and James, and then Robert and James all came on the boat together. Welch's joined about that same year, about 1841-42, and they came over a little bit after Robert, but they went across the plains with the Welch's. So here's how when they migrated. So the Crookstons all migrated in 1841, Welch's in 1842, and then George came in 1855, who was Robert's half brother, and then Janet came in, who was half sister, in 1861, and all of them ended up in Utah. So that explains how I'm here and what I'm going to talk about. So I'll first talk about Robert's family, and then I'll talk about the ones we know less about, which would be Robert's stepbrothers and sisters, the Welches, and the Youngs. Thank you.